Well, back home now, the Andrews Government has been forced to make changes overnight to its pandemic management bill ahead of the Victorian Parliament resuming today. Mark Stevens is in Melbourne. Mark, we've seen a pretty feisty session of question time. This is obviously the big issue inside Parliament, and outside, protesters were sleeping out on the steps of Parliament calling for the bill to be scrapped.
Ash, they are. They slept out overnight and the numbers are growing behind me. I reckon there's probably 300 to 400 here now. Of course, they're fighting this pandemic bill that the government's hoping to get through after several changes last night to appease the crossbenchers. So here are the amendments. The pandemic declaration only on reasonable ground. The maximum financial penalty's been halved. Characteristics must be relevant to risk, and of course the Equal Opportunity Act, that's been taken out of the equation. That was quite an issue, but you can hear behind me they're pretty fired up. Daniel Andrews arrived a little earlier with the Health Minister, Martin Foley.
We were happy to make those because we know they strike the right balance between keeping Victorians safe and making sure that the rights of Victorians to go about their business in a normal manner are enshrined.
Well, look, we have a process where we engage in good faith, and this is not unusual that after discussions with crossbenchers and just the normal parliamentary process, there are some changes made.
Now, the government worked very closely with the crossbenchers. There's 3 of them that need to vote to get it over the line. Certainly they're pretty happy with the amendments.
We have engaged productively and collaboratively in a process with the government to improve, to make better a piece of legislation that is fit for purpose.
In the last 2 weeks, we've been able to negotiate legislation that is now even better than where we started from.
We weren't able to secure everything that we asked for and we put on the negotiating table. We weren't able to secure the government's support for a range of things, including the external detention, but we'll certainly be asking them questions about it, and we really welcome the debate. It's such an important part of the work that we do.
Now, the opposition's certainly not satisfied with the amendments. The theory is with Matthew Guy, the opposition leader, they're just tinkering around the edges. The changes aren't significant enough, and Guy's taken up the attack in Parliament in question time.
Given widespread community and legal fears that the government's proposed pandemic laws are too heavy-handed, and given extraordinary amount of power to the Premier or the Minister, why won't the government now withdraw this extreme legislation and start again?
And the short answer is because we won't be changing our position from one position to another in the space of weeks. They've shared the stage with some very interesting people who've put some very interesting views. Protesting, as we speak, about ending the lockdown. There is no lockdown. And you know why? And you know why? Because instead of cuddling up to anti-vaxxers, we have said no, you must get vaccinated. That's why we're open.
There's a lot of passion inside Parliament and outside on the steps. This could roll on all week. Certainly some dramatic scenes here in Melbourne, Ash.
Mark, thank you. Live on Spring Street there.